Okay, my camera is not working. Please afford that. I will take the presentation. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Just a minute. Okay, now I hope this video, this slide is visible to you. Is
Yes,
it?
ma'am.
Okay. So today we are going to, we already heard the concept class and objects. Class is a template which we can declare the set of elements or data members or a method. In Java or object-oriented programming concept, in a program, there are so many classes we can include. One class, the main function should be included in a particular class. That should be the Java program name itself. But other than that, we can include so many classes inside the Java program. The class template is class name field, and method field means data members or variables which we can declare inside the class. Method means this is the member functions or functions we are declaring inside the class. So which we want to invoke or access something inside the class, that would be used some class variable or instance variable, that's called an object name. Object name should be declared as the class name, object name equal to new class name. This is the syntax for the object creation. Okay, so we already learned that how the main function that will be declared, both options are available. One is inside the class or outside the class, or that means a particular class will be there, that main we can declare inside the class itself, and the class itself it contain a data member and also a two data members, and inside that class itself we declare the main function. So inside that main function we declared an object that indicating that particular class. By using that particular object we invoked the data members we already declared in the class. This is one concept, and main we can declare outside the class. Outside the class means there are two classes in the Java program. One is for declaring data members only, and other class it is for indicating or declaring the main function. From the main function we just declare the class we already declared the data members, which class is declared or contain the data members, that class should be declared an object variable. And by using that object variable, we can invoke that particular class and the members declared inside that particular class. Okay, so here the student class already we have ID and name, so it will be declared inside a particular class, and that variable we can invoke from the main function. The main function, it will declare inside a separate class. That should be the Java name or program name, is it? So inside that main function, we declare the previous class's object S1, but using that object, we invoke the variable ID and name. That is the concept of main outside the class. Okay. So we need to initialize something object, or object means object is an instance variable of a class. That object should be initialized, or for allocating some memory location for the object by using three ways. We can use three ways to initialize a particular object in a Java program or object-oriented program. So the first method is by reference variable. Then second method is by method. Third is by constructor. That means by reference variable, that means we can use object, and object with using that object, by using dot operator, whatever the element or data member we already declared inside the class, that variable should be accessed. That is the reference variable concept. Okay, so in the example which we can see, that is a class is there, two classes available in this program. One is for declaring the main function, and one is for declaring the data members or variable. So class student, inside that we declared ID and name. ID is an integer variable, name is a string variable. Then by using a reference variable means the variable referencing a class which is known as an object. Okay, so we can initialize that, or we can invoke particular variables or data members, which we can, or we need to initialize some values to that particular data member. We using object is the reference variable. Okay, so class student we declared. Again we need to initiate the main function. From that main function only we declare the object. Object of which class, which element we are included, or which data members we are declared, or which data members we need to initialize the values, that data members are included in which class, that class variable should be the object. Okay, so student S1. So why we not using test student 2 as to object declaration? Because test student 2 is the class name which is indicated, or which is included the main function, that is only to identify the JVM4 from which point the function or the class or program will be start to execute. So we need to create object other than the class which we declared the main function. Is it? Okay, so the variable S1, that is the object variable object, that is declared as an object. Why this is an object? Because S1 is declared student S1. Student is the class name. So student S1 equal to new student. That is the syntax for creating an object. By using that particular object S1, S1 dot ID equal to 101. That means ID is the member or data member or field which we declared inside the class student. We need to initialize particular data member by using a object reference variable. Okay, so S1 dot ID equal to 101. So S1 dot name equal to some name we denoted Zonu inside the double quotes, that is the string variable, string data element. So we initialize the variable by using a reference variable S1. So system.out.println S1 dot ID means S1 dot ID is 101. Then double quotes, inside that a space will be there. Then plus s1 dot name. S1 dot name is Sonu. So 101 space Sonu will be displayed. Okay, this is the concept of initialization through reference variable. In any of the data members or any object we can declare inside the main function, so many, or we can declared so many objects with the same class student. By using that object also we can initialize a particular data members inside the class. So reference, initializing the object with the reference variable, that means that by using a particular reference variable, that is object dot that particular variable can be initialized. Okay, so this is the concept of initialization through reference variable. The next method is object will be initialized by using method. Method is also a function. So inside that function, we contain some of the parameter values. That parameter also could be used for the initialization purpose. That is the concept of initialization through method. So for that, how it will be initialized? By using a method or function, by using its parameters or arguments inside the function. We can use this argument to initialize a particular data members. For that, the initial case, first we need to declare some of the data members inside a particular class student will be there. We gave int roll number, string name. These are the two data members or field we are already declared. Then inside that class, we declared one method or a function that is called insert record. Its name is insert record. That is a user defined function. We gave the name for the particular function insert record. The type is void. Void means no return value. That indicate that the function is passing some arguments into the main function, or just invoke from the main function. The function will be called, it will be invoked, and after executing that particular function, not return any value. That is the indication of the void data type, is it? So void insert record, inside the parenthesis we wrote int r comma string n. Okay, these are the two parameters. We used with these parameters, we initialized the data members, roll number and name. That means that what will be passing from the main to a particular function insert record, that value, that integer value should be reached, or it will be saved in the variable r. Then n is the string variable. Whatever the value we passed from the main as the string value, it will be assigned to the variable n. Okay, so whatever the value inside r, that will be assigned to the roll number. Roll number is again declared as integer. It is a class data member or field which we are already declared inside the class. That variable should be initialized by using the parameter which we are included in the method or a function. So roll number equal to r means r is received from the main, which is the parameter value or argument value. That value should be assigned to the roll number. The name equal to n. So by using this function insert record, we initialized the variables. We initialized the class data members, roll number and name. So that class should be closed. So then that insert record function will be closed. Again another function display information, that is another function that should be declared inside that particular class student for displaying this roll number and name. Okay, roll number name is declared inside the class student. For insert record function, inside that function we initialized the value roll number equal to r, name equal to n. Then another function display information is the system.out.println roll number and name. Okay, so this is for displaying some information. Then in outside the class, we need to declare one main function. We knew that in main function should be included inside a particular class. That class is a class test student 4. Inside that class, we declare the main function public static void main string args. Inside that main function, we need to invoke a particular class student by using the class variable, that is object. So we need to declare object for a particular class student. So for that, we declare two objects S1 and S2 as the object of student class by the syntax student S1. This will be remembered. The object should be declared by class name, object variable name equal to new of the same class name itself. This is the syntax for the object creation. S1 and S2 are two objects we already created. By using that particular object only, we can invoke the variable, roll number and name, or insert record or display information. Okay. So with using S1, we invoked or called the function S1 dot insert record. Why it is used S1 dot insert record? Because S1 is the object we are declaring as the object of the student class. Inside that student class, whatever we declared as the data member or member function, that will be accessed or invoked by using that particular object only. That's why S1 dot insert record. Inside that parenthesis, because insert record is a function, it contains two parameters. We already defined that function with the int r comma string n. That's why we called the function insert record. From the main function also we gave two parameters, 111 comma current. Okay, so just calling the insert record and assign 111 into the variable int r, current will be assigned to string n. So r will be 111, n will be KARN current. So these two variables inside that insert record, we already given that roll number equal to R. R means 111, name equal to current. So these are the two variables by assigning or initializing with the object S1. So after initializing this, we called or we again initialized S2 dot insert record. We move to S2 next function S2 dot insert record 222 comma rn. So we just called for the next object, we allocated separate memory location for to initialize the variables roll number and name. We just passed the parameter 222 comma rn into the insert record, and it will be assigned to the variable r and n. Roll number equal to r means 222, name equal to rn. So this will be assigned to the roll number and name for a particular object S2. Okay, S1 roll number is 111, S2 roll number will be 222. This is the memory allocation arrangement for the particular object. This is the object initialization procedure. Then we called S1 dot display information. By using that particular object S1, what will be the memory location content? Roll number and name should be saved inside that particular object memory area. That should be
ఎక్కడున్నావు మళ్ళా ఇదిరా అడాప్టర్ ఇందిరా చూసావా నువ్వు
what is going on? Something is not understanding if there is mic is on or not. Inside the class, you just listen the class. Don't look to anywhere. Is this online class? You just surrounding your whatever the job you did, you must listen the class. Okay, you don't have to listen anywhere. You are speaking something and you unmuted, Then you speaking, don't listening in the class, don't listening the staff only, whatever the teacher said or whatever the other person do, you don't mind anything. Online, it means not to listen anything. That is not the meaning of online class. Online class is just to mean to how you invoke, how you engage with the blended learning concept. So you should listen here, okay? The content what I have to taught today, you must come to the class. In the next class, you must explain to me. Is it? So the next is initialization through method. Okay. Then next is object initialization. Just a minute. Object initialization through a constructor. So constructor is the concept, one function or one method, normal method. That constructor is same to the function or method we are already defined in the class or inside the class. But the difference is that constructor is have the same name of the class. So one member function which name is same as the class name, that is called a constructor. So constructor is basically used to initialize the object value. So for initializing object, by default or invoked by any function or a method. So this is the default method for to initialize an object, that is the concept of constructor. Constructor means it is a member function or a method which contain the same name of the class, and it is need to or it by declared or created by using the new keyword, and this constructor will be automatically invoked while creating. When creating an object, this method will be automatically invoked. That is the method or member function that will be called the constructor concept. So constructor means a block of code, or it is a function which is the name or name is same as the class, and also by using this constructor we can initialize the object. So here in the Java programming concept, we can have two types of constructor. One is default constructor, that is no argument constructor. That means the constructor should be the name itself of the same class itself, but inside the parenthesis or when we invoke a particular function, that is constructor, it contains no argument or no parameter. That is the default constructor. If we declare no constructor inside the class in Java, it's a Java compiler creates a default constructor for the initialization of the object. Okay, so there are two types of constructors in Java. One is no argument constructor, that is a default constructor. Then next one is a parameterized constructor. That means inside the constructor or inside that particular member function, we can give so many parameters. Okay, parameters in the sense inside the left and right parenthesis of a function declaration, we can have many, we allow to give so many parameters or the arguments. That is the concept of parameterized constructor. Okay, so how we can write Java default constructor? Default constructor means the constructor with the no argument or no parameters. Constructor syntax is how we declare a particular constructor. Constructor is the name of the same class itself. That is the constructor. Okay, when a function, so many methods we can declare inside the Java program, but one method is the name same as the class name. That function should be called a constructor. That is the main idea of the constructor. Constructor is used to initialize the object. That is the functionality for the constructor. And inside that constructor, or how we can declare the constructor, by using class name or constructor name. Then class name itself the constructor. Inside that constructor, we can write some code inside that member function. Then in the main function, when we declared some object, one object, at that time, the object declaration itself, the function constructor or constructor will be automatically invoked. So when we write a member function or a method other than that constructor, we invoke that particular function or a member function by using object as the reference variable. So by using S1 dot operator, we could invoke that particular function. Is it? By using a particular object dot, other than that a function name itself, we can invoke or call the particular member function. But in the case of constructor, when we declare the object, at that time also the object or constructor, the default constructor will be automatically invoked. So from an example, class bike1, this is the class name bike1. So inside that class, we declared one bike1 without parameter, a function with the same class name. So that is the default constructor. If we, the user, did not write any constructor, the compiler, the Java compiler should declare a automatic default constructor inside the class itself. So while when we create some object, that the default constructor will be invoked. Here only we write the constructor, default constructor, that is without an argument. Bike1, that is the constructor name, that's the function or the same class name itself. Inside that constructor, we wrote system.out.println bike is created. So this is the statement that will be printed or displayed in the output console when we invoke the default constructor. Is it? So in the main function, we can declare the main function inside this class, or otherwise we can create another class for only declaring the main function. The two possibilities are there. Just here we declared a class bike1. Inside that class we invoked or we declared a constructor, default constructor without any argument. Any argument means bike1, open parenthesis and closing parenthesis. Inside that there is no argument. That is the concept. Okay. So bike is created. That is the statement should be printed inside the bike1 default constructor. So in the main function, public static void main, inside that main function, we declared one object. How it will be declared? Or object will be declared for the class bike1. The syntax is bike1, one object name is there, b equal to new bike1 of. This is the declaration of the particular object. When we declare this object, which constructor will be invoked? The default constructor will be invoked. So default constructor, inside the default constructor, if anything need to be needed or if anything, any code need to be executed, that code will be executed. Other than that, the default constructor is automatically created for the object memory allocation only, for initializing the object. Okay. So here bike1 b equal to new bike1, it is indicating that one object is declared. So at that time, the default constructor should be invoked automatically. So the constructor, the flow of statement that will be go upward for checking the default constructor if there is any executable code inside that. So bike1, inside that system.out.println we already wrote. So bike is created. That statement will be printed in the output console. So this is the concept of default constructor. Default constructor means The constructor which have no parameter. Constructor means constructor is the member function which name is same as the class name. Okay. It is used to initialize the object. That is the functionality of the constructor. When we can use the parameterized constructor, that means inside that constructor is a member function. That function only we can give the parameter value also. So that constructor is also called a parameterized constructor. By using this constructor, we can initialize the variable. Okay. So here one example is that we gave class student 4. We declared a class student 4. Inside that class, we have two variables or data members, ID and name. We declared that with using data types. Then inside that class, we declared a constructor, parameterized constructor. So we need to declare the constructor itself. Okay. So in the case of default constructor only, we need not it is not compulsory to be declare a default constructor inside the particular class. But in the case of parameterized constructor, the constructor should be declared. Inside the constructor, we need to give the data members which we want to initialize by using that object. Okay. So student 4 is a function name, is same as the class name. So this function will be called as the constructor. So student 4, inside that parenthesis, we gave the parameter int I comma string n. These are the two parameters for initializing the variables ID and name. Is it? So ID equal to I, name equal to n. Inside that constructor, we wrote some executable code for assigning or initializing the data members we already declared inside the student 4 class. Okay. So then again we write another function, void display. It is for printing the statement or printing the data members ID and name. This is for display function. Then public static void main. Inside that main function, we need to declare the object. Then when we declare the object, the default constructor will automatically invoke, but the parameterized constructor we need to invoke. Okay. How it will be invoked? Student 4, that is the class, we need to declare the class object for a particular class student 4 because we need to initialize the ID and name data members inside that student 4 class. Okay. So for that, we declare object S1 and S2 for the student 4 class. How we declared student 4? S1 equal to new student 4. This is for object creation. Then inside that parenthesis, normally we declared one object, student 4 S1 equal to new student 4, opening and closing parenthesis only. But here, inside the object, we gave some two values, that is two parameters. Because when an object is declared, the constructor should be invoked. So by using this constructor, we can initialize the object. So previous case, we just use the insert record as the function or function. Inside that function, we just given the parameters. By using the method, we initialize the variable roll number and name. But in the case parameterized constructor, in the object, when we declared the object itself, we can give the parameter value by using, while when we declare this object, automatically this constructor will be invoked with the where we declared two parameters constructor. When we declare, actually this statement will search for a constructor which have two parameters. That is the concept of when we declared some object, inside that a parameter is given. We can give so many parameters. One constructor is with the two parameter, another constructor with the three parameters, another constructor with the no parameters. But when a object declaration, it will be have some parameters. It will search for the appropriate constructor where we declared. Okay. So in this case, it is searched for two parameters that constructor is where we declared that constructor should be invoked. So student 4 int I comma string n. So this 111 Karan will be assigned to that. Then ID equal to I, name equal to n. ID should be assigned to 111. Then name equal to Karan. Again S2 will be declared. The object is object or memory location that will be allocated for S2. Object should be declared. At that time, in the object itself, we gave the parameters. So the constructor with the two parameters were we declared that should be invoked. And inside that, ID and name is assigned with the new values 222 and array. Okay. Again, S1 dot display means whatever the values which hold the object S1 that should be displayed. S2 dot display means whatever the value inside which is stored inside the S2 object that will be displayed by using S2 dot display. Okay. This is the parameterized constructor thing. So again, we moved on to when we declare object is the normal variable. So that is in case this that student S1 equal to new student. That means S1 is a single object we can assign. By using that object, we can assign or we can initialize one or two data members or inside that class members. Whatever the variables we already declared, that variable should be initialized with using one object, or we allocated one memory location for that ID and name. Okay. So in case which we want to create 20 students details. So in that case, we need to write student S1, student S2, student S3, student S4. So these much of variables or 20 elements we need to again and again declare and initialize the variable with the data number. So our code will be get much larger. So this should be reduced by using, we can use object as the array concept also. Okay, that's the concept array of objects. So we can declare the object as the array, class name, object, square brackets. That is the concept of a variable declared as the array. It means int a of, that means that int a square bracket means a is an array variable that holds the data members which is type integer. So that's why class name object square bracket means object is a obj, that is the variable which is declared as an object because the data type or before the data type indication, that is the class name. So object is an array. Object is an array equal to new class name of array length. This is the syntax for declaring an array. Okay. So we declared obj as the object, an array of object with the size array length. Is it? So otherwise we can give class name object array. Here case obj array is a variable, that is an object, that is a object array or array of objects. Otherwise we can give class name obj array of square bracket. That is also indicating that this is an array of objects. Okay. So we can declare employee department 120. That means we declared an object department 1 for a particular class employee with the size 20. So we can include 20 employee details of the department 1. So 20 employee details of the department 2. This and also 20 employee details of the department 3. So this is the concept of array of object with the 20 elements. Okay. So an example of this for an object or array of objects, if we need to create 5 object memory or array, object array, it contain in each object array, it contain one ID or one product ID and one product name is there. Okay. So for that, we need to create one class product. So this is for holding. It contain two data. We need to display corresponding object, five object or five product details we need to obtain. For that, we need to declare what is the detail we need to enter that product ID and product name. For that, we declare one class and we declare product ID as the integer, product name as the string data type. Then for product ID and product name initializing, we can use constructor other than any method or member function. Here we used constructor with the parameter, that is parameterized constructor for initializing the data members, product ID and product name. So product ID equal to PID, product name equal to string n. So whatever we passed to the product, or when we declared an object with the two parameter, that parameter will be initialized to pro ID, pro name data members. Another function inside that class product we declared display, that is inside that display we need to display product ID equal to whatever the value we initialized to pro ID, that should be printed. Product name equal to pro name. So then next line should be printed. The cursor should be reached to the next line by using the indication system.out.println. That is not needed. So in case we need to print object 0 product ID and product name, then object 1, the next object's content, product ID and product name, that should be printed in the next line. That's why we used system.out.println. Okay, so this is the concept. We need to enter some values, that is product ID and product name, that should be reached to some variable pro ID and pro name, that should be printed by using display function. We need to enter, or we need to print these much details of 5 different products, or 5 different products. We need to enter their product ID and product name. For that, in the main function, so main function should be in a particular class. For that only we declared a class name, and inside that class we declared the main function. Then we declared an array with the name of obj, that is not an integer array or a string array, that is an array of object. How it will be identified? The object obj, that is the variable declared by using the class name product. Okay, so product square bracket obj, product space obj square bracket, that is also correct. So here we declared product square bracket obj, that means obj is an array of object, allocated memory new with the new keyword product of 5. That is the object declaration only, but indicating the size of the array. So 5 object it will be declared. Then each object will be indicating by, in array sequence, an array how it will be identified. A is an array, A0, 0th location 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is for 5 array elements. So in case object for 5 object we can create that by using object array of object 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each array we declared the product, or object 0 it will be assigned, or obj 0th location it will be allocated, or the class obj 0 it will be invoked or initialized by using new keyword, which one? Product of. That means in this statement or line of statement, that is indicating obj 0 is declared. Okay, one object is declared, then with the same name of product with the 2 parameter. In this time, which method is invoked? The constructor should be invoked, which contain the constructor which contain 2 parameters, that will be invoked. So 23907 Dell laptop, it will be reached to product constructor with the 2 parameters PID and N. So pro ID equal to this 23907, pro name equal to Dell laptop. Again, obj1. This is the first memory location for the array of object obj. Then it will be assigned 91240 HP 630. Up to object 0 to 4 will be allocated. That is different array of object or collection of objects we already created. Then we need to obtain or retrieve the value from the particular array of object. We need to retrieve the function. We need to give the function display, or we need to call the function display for displaying what are the elements inside that particular array of object. So system.out.println product object 1, that should be we want to display it. So that will be called by obj 0th location, not the obj dot display. Obj is an array of objects. That's why the 0th location of that particular array of objects we need to retrieve or display. So obj 0, it contains whatever the product ID and product name that should be displayed by using display function. So again, the next memory location obj1, that is obj is an array. Inside that array we declared object as the array. So inside that object we can have so many parameters inside that memory location. So in the first location of an object array, we retrieve the values product ID and product name by using the display function. This is the method which we are going to declare one array as object, and how we can assign this each location of the array, then how we can retrieve the element from the array of the object. Is it? So this is the concept of array of the object. I hope you understood. Okay. I will show the demo in the next class, or the tomorrow I will show all the entire demo of this program. You also please, I will put the slide on the GCR. Please verify it, and please go through this program and copy this to an online Java compiler, and how it will be the output. Okay, please parallelly you have to do all these things. The programming methodology, or what will be the output you want to see also. Okay. Is it understood? So I want to take the attendance. You just give me the attendance. I will mark the absent days. After verifying it, I will put the attendance. Okay. Number 5002, please unmute and say the attendance. 5002. Okay. Then 6.
Present, ma'am.
10, 5010.
Present,
10 is
ma'am.
the 12.
Present, ma'am.
25.
Present, ma'am.
27. Nitin, 27. 5027. 5038.
Present, ma'am.
5038. Ashiraj.
Present, ma'am.
Then 5039.
Present, ma'am.
5042.
Present, ma'am.
50.
Present, ma'am.
5051.
Present, ma'am.
58.
Present, ma'am.
66.
Present, ma'am.
71.
Present, ma'am.
72.
Present, ma'am.
73,
Present, ma'am.
75,
Present, ma'am.
76,
Present, ma'am.
78,
Present, ma'am.
80,
Present, ma'am.
81,
Present, ma'am.
87,
Present, ma'am.
88,
Present, ma'am.
90,
Present, ma'am.
92,
Present, ma'am.
95,
Present, ma'am.
99,
Present, ma'am.
5102,
Present, ma'am.
106,
Absent.
5106 absent. Then 5108,
Present, ma'am.
111,
Present, ma'am.
7003,
Present, ma'am.
09,
Present, ma'am.
13,
Present, ma'am.
29,
Present, ma'am.
33, 33. Alan,
Present, ma'am.
40,
Present, ma'am.
47, 47, Daniel, 7047,
Present, ma'am.
50,
Present, ma'am.
58,
Present, ma'am.
59,
Present, ma'am.
60,
Present, ma'am.
63, 63,
Present,
Bharat,
ma'am. Present, ma'am.
68,
Ma'am, present, ma'am.
70,
Present, ma'am.
73,
Present, ma'am.
74,
Present, ma'am.
79,
Present, ma'am.
80,
Present, ma'am.
81,
Present, ma'am.
86,
Present, ma'am.
102,
Present, ma'am.
106,
Present, ma'am.
7122,
Present, ma'am.
127,
I'm 7122 present.
127,
27 present, ma'am.
132,
Present, ma'am.
133,
Present, ma'am.
134, Shubharanjana, 123, 134. Subharanjana is there? 134, 135, Harini. 135, 135, Harini is not there. 149.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. So 135, 134. 5027.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Shubharanjana and Harini. Okay. You can leave now. Okay. We will
Thank you,
meet
ma'am.
tomorrow. Okay. Thank you.